because she spoke Mandarin. So were you able to even use that, or is it just a decoration?
Decoration.
So is there a reason? I find the logic is not there as far as I'm concerned that you spoke Mandarin, so you were hired, but you were put there as decoration, and you never use it ever at all. It just doesn't make sense.
It's not. You said it's not logical, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Racism is not logical. So that's what I mean. That racism manifests itself in different ways depending on where you are.
I have a next question, Michael. So when we talked to Jerry Hoffman, you said to talk to him about it, but isn't it better for us to write a letter and then everyone signs it what do you think? Is it to send it to his office? Because that I remember a long time ago when I met who's the congresswoman that she retired, but when I had to do something, we all signed it and we sent it to her. That was much more powerful than having one person here and there and doing it, rather than join everybody and have like all the Koreans get together, different race get together and then sign it and then do it. Isn't it better that way? What do you think?
You're absolutely right. It's much better. My nonprofit, we're all a 100% volunteer organization. If we had full-time staff, I would have the staff pull together a package, not just for Huffman, but for all the Congress people to sign. And specifically, the strategy actually is to get a ranking member of Congress to demand that the GAO, the General Accounting Office, audit the State Department and the FBI and the intelligence community. There's a way that we can do that, but I need full-time staff to help me do that, and we don't have that.
So my question is then this, that you have sample letters, we don't know the detail, nitty-gritty of the departments, so if you have sample something, that we can go to our community, say, sign this is very important, but they will all sign and send them a petition. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. What I'm trying to say is I need to work on that piece of paper for you to sign.
Yeah, thank you. They will all, okay, thank you. That will be good. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie. I just wanted to say that, it is more than one person. It takes a village to raise a village. And collectively, with all your expertise, I think it's important to bring about a coalition rather than just a band-aid to a problem. There's more than just one aspect of us being Asian, right? So I want to bring the part of mental health. Because a lot of us in Asia, we suffer in silence, and our trauma, whatever we have gone through, we are not recognized, we are not being said that, oh, this is important, but it's rather, hush, like you say, you internalize the pain and the grief. So as a peer and community advocate, I want to bring awareness to everyone, and hopefully you guys can bring up a momentum, something that is crafted out, so like what Joe said, a petition or something that we can come about to it together. I know you don't have the capacity of an office at the moment, but I'm sure we can all, you are educator, activists, everyone has some ideas to craft up this together as a plan, like a jigsaw of a big puzzle, right? So unless we come out to bring up systemic steps, because it's just not one day we are having all this kind of trauma and bearings on our shoulders. So this is what I'm proposing. Thank you.
I actually have a little bit for that. For all of our Asian American curriculum that went out to the 10,000 schools through Beyond Differences, we also included a full curriculum that was social emotional learning that was specifically geared to healing the Asian American community and also giving schools ways to create more belonging for Asian American students. So it wasn't just on Asian American students. And we did that in conjunction with Asian American mental health care workers. And then when we put the Asian American curriculum in schools, we did a series of teacher trainings and administrative trainings of how to support Asian American students because they were having higher levels of anxiety, depression, and mental health issues. So we were then training teachers how to identify that and to work with that and to link with local organizations.
Maybe like career pathways, adopting also cultural humility Because it's not about having 4 hours of cultural competence with the, any organization. They need to take a walk in our, path, a mile in our shoes, to be able to really feel what they have been through.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
takes all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your work on the ethnic studies piece there. I was actually at the Stand Up for APR Youth panel with Beyond Differences, and then the Queer Visibility panel as well. And then I actually looked at the curriculum and Beyond Differences, and I go, whoa, there's actually quite a bit of stuff here. But I think the part that wowed me the most was that it was put together by the youth. That I've never come across anything like that. So I thought that's what made it super special. So yeah, and then with the ethnic studies, ethnic studies like coming about, like how much youth input is being placed into that curriculum?
A ton. So Stanford and UC Berkeley and Columbia did this research that what is the best way that young people learn? And the best way young people learn is by learning from other young people. So we took that research, what I call bias for us. We work with young people and we facilitate with them and get all the pieces together. And it's based on they're the engine. And then I go about putting everything together, and then their voices are imbued into it. What you get is much higher levels of engagement in the study. You get much higher feelings of belonging from the work. So as I keep moving on, because you do stuff and you don't know if it's going to work, right? You read all the research and you're like, oh, okay, Stanford, yeah, you feel like you know what you're doing. And then you go in there and sometimes it clunks and sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes it doesn't work out well. So I spent, over a year trying to figure it out and then finding that magic bullet that could clear that way. And so yes, there's a huge amount of youth input. And as I watch them learn and they decide and they talk to us about what is important for them, it just blooms and grows. So yeah, I'm so glad that you went and saw it and you get that that's the thing. Because some people are like, oh, young people, but I think it's pretty great.
Yeah, and even that moment of now this privilege, temporary privilege, to be like, hey Sally, good to see you.
I'm glad to see you too.
Yeah. And then I do have another question for Michael. Michael, right? And so will we be getting resources or websites, social media platforms to help with your cause, aside from, I think like all of us, we can start calling up Huffman's office, writing letters and flood the inboxes and the voicemails, but what else can we do?
I think money is the big thing. Is at that level in the federal government, the amount of expertise that's required to prepare paper for the National Security Council, for instance, there are very few people who actually know how to navigate that process. Fortunately, my co-founder is a well-known civil rights advocate in Maryland, but in order for us to go to the next level, we really do need to begin hiring full-time staff. It's a heavy lift because it's not an issue that most people really get. Street violence, youth mental health, things like that. You see that on a day-to-day, but when it gets to the level of, ambassadorships, there's not a constituency there. So I appreciate your suggestion. We are using we have a website, we're using social media, but it's really about trying to get the right meetings with, for instance, how do we get a meeting with FBI Director Chris Wray? Like those are the kinds of things. So we will be looking at funding in the future to try to hire at least our first full-time staff.
So I was just kind of wondering, because I'm part of like the youth and a lot of like the younger generation, and I know that there's a lot of things that like, well, I guess like I'm still pretty young. I just turned 18, and like I know that I haven't had the ability to enter a lot of elections and do a lot of voting because I'm not of that age yet. But I guess what would you say for the younger generations to do to like help make it more aware, especially because we're entering into a very technological time where like a lot of misinformation can be spread through social media with like a single click and stuff like that, especially because I end up being in like just either high school or college age where a lot of toxicity can take place.
First of all, thanks for being here. Thanks for being the youngest person in the room. That is already a really huge deal, and I'm glad that you're here. And the virtue of the fact that you're here and that person, I can already know you're way cooler than me, so I don't really know what kind of advice I can give you, other than the fact that help him out, help me out. Come in and join our organizations. Tell me what, like every day I sit around and I think of like, how do I get used to like my Instagram post? And I feel really stupid. And so if you're there and you tell me, hey, Sally, that's dumb, then you get us even further. If you help me figure out how to make a TikTok campaign about, here are the top 5 Asian American history ideas you should know about, or here is the top 3 ways depression presents itself in young Asian American people, and you can help me get that to go viral. That's powerful stuff. And me, as a 51-year-old person, really doesn't have the ability to do that, but you do. And I also think the fact that you sit here and you think, what is it can I do? I don't have the ability to vote in a lot of elections, but you do have the ability to help me figure out how to get a bunch of young people to vote in an election. You may not know how to navigate how do we get ethnic studies further, but you can sit around and help me figure out how to do it together. I think to her point, it's never one person who gets it done, but come and tell me, Sally, if you put a period at the end of that text, everybody's going to think that you're yelling at them. I didn't know that until like a week ago, that you don't put a period at the end of text because it's considered mean, because I'm 51 and a 17-year-old person told me, did you not know that? See, now it changed a lot. So yeah, if you put periods at the end of your sentence, young people think that you're upset at them. Didn't know that.
I try to use proper grammar in my texts.
You do? Okay, well I didn't know. So then there was the other time I couldn't figure out my phone and it was texting all in caps and everybody thought I was yelling at them. I had to literally start my text, I'm not yelling at you, my phone's broken. But all joking aside, your voice as a young person is more powerful, and I hate to say this, than probably everybody in this room. Because you have many more years to be able to work on it, and you're living in a time and space that we're just learning how to navigate. So, thank you for being here. Come see me afterwards. I have tons of things that we can do together.
I was talking to Every earlier, because we were just kind of back there, and I was looking at the artwork and stuff like that, and just kind of talking about like, I try to advocate like a lot, being like just kind of talking about mental health and stuff like that, and also trying to get people to actually go and vote, because a lot of, well, my friend group, they're very interested in like promoting like a lot of like just like the good ideals for like improving the world and stuff like that. But I look outside of it, especially a lot of the grades below mine. My grade kind of ended up being like a little outcast for some reason. And a lot of them are just kind of not boo-hooing voting and elections and stuff like that. But they don't take it as seriously, or they'll be like, oh, why would I vote? Like, I don't have to buy car insurance. I don't have to pay for this. Like, I'm living with my parents right now. And I just kind of remembered, because like I was a sophomore when COVID hit, So I lost my sophomore and junior, and I entered into a senior acting like a freshman, quite honestly. And then I realized, well, wow, now I'm 18 years old and I have to figure out jobs. I gotta figure out colleges. And I think, especially having to go through a lot of either discrimination for being Asian in the time of COVID, and not really having the school do something about that. Because the school will be like, oh, this is a day we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna have a stand, like, talking about Asian American heritage for this day. And then it's gone the next day. I'm like, well, I didn't have a chance to talk about it because I had a class.
This was at your college? This was at your college?
This was at my high school.
At your high school?
Which I'm actually wearing a hoodie for, but I don't go here anymore. But I'm at College of Maine right now. And I'd say they're pretty good about having a wide range of courses, but definitely I wish that I had ethnic studies in high school, because like you said, we learn about the history stuff, but it is very heavily emphasized on American history, and not American history of like every American, like